I have never cleared as many demons and heavy energies as I had in March of this year, and I have been doing this work for 24 years. In 24 years, this has been the biggest amount of clearings that I have done. Welcome to Tools to Manifest Your Dream Life with myself, Glenise Hughes. Thank you so much for being here. I am so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. This is an invitation to my upcoming 3-part Clearing What's Draining You series, May 20th, 21st, and 22nd. We are going to cover clearing the stuff to do with money, with relationships, and general life stuff. Link is above or below or in the show notes. If you can't find the link, just reach out and I will get it for you. So all of those clearings inspired this podcast about 5 signs your life might need some clearing. Sign number 1, the problem keeps coming back. You think you've cleared it, you've done the work, and yet it shows up. Different situation, same reaction. In one of the sessions, a woman said to me that every time she has money come in, it has to go out. Even though she has tried, she has cleared, she's done all sorts of self-work, and nothing changes. It doesn't matter how it comes in, it has to go out right away. And she said it's very hard to pinpoint it as a pattern because the ways it has to go out is normal. So she might get a new client who signs up for a 3-month package and gets a deposit of $15,000, but the next day or the next week, she'll get a big bill for $16,000 or something like that. It's constantly occurring where money comes in and it has to go out again. And she recognized it's a pattern that repeats. She recognized it's not just reality, as some people might say. This is truly one of the ways that there's a sign that something needs clearing. In the session, I just asked her some questions that were more awareness-based questions because they weren't logical. They were more about, so is this from this lifetime or another lifetime? And she just went off of her awareness. In her case, it was another lifetime. And what we got to was that it was another lifetime where she had had a lot of money and was punished for it. And she ensured that she never had money again from that one choice in that one lifetime, but brought it forward into this lifetime. And so, of course, anytime money came in, it had to go out. We cleared that about 6 weeks ago, and I just heard from her the other day that she did have a client sign up, and so far was about 2 weeks later, the money was still sitting in her account. She had no reason to get rid of it, and she was so excited that finally, for the first time in her life, she can have money. So, something to keep in mind, if a pattern keeps repeating, there's something in there that needs clearing. Sign number 2 is that you understand the issue and you react anyway. You know better, you've done the work, you've cleared all of the stuff around your reaction, and yet your body reacts in those similar situations every freaking time. There was a gentleman in one of the sessions, and what he said to me is that he knows that his boss isn't mad at him. He knows his boss isn't out to get him. However, anytime that his boss says, hey, can you come into my office, or can we talk tomorrow? His stomach drops, his body reacts as though there's a fight, there's a problem, and of course, it's his fault. In this case, it wasn't past life related. It was this lifetime, many, many years ago, when he was heavily criticized by his boss. And he's basically been holding all of those energies, just waiting for it to happen again and expecting it in every situation, even though it hasn't actually occurred for decades. So we cleared the energies that he was using to basically protect himself from that, even though it's not protection, but energetically it felt like protection. Like if he's expecting it and it happens, it's way better than if it happens just out of the blue. So he was protecting himself by expecting it. So he cleared all of those energies. And I heard from him last week, and he said, so far, it's only occurred a couple times that his boss has asked to talk to him, and he hasn't had that reaction. So Yay. So just something to keep in mind: when knowledge doesn't change the reaction, there's something to clear. Now, the third sign is, I would say, probably one of the hardest to pinpoint as an energy to clear, because we spend a lot of time spinning in what the problem could be. So the sign is that you feel drained, you feel exhausted all the time. And so people assume that they didn't get a good night's sleep, or they're not eating properly, or they didn't exercise yesterday. We come up with all of these excuses or rationalizations for it. We never really look at, what is this? What is going on here? And is this an energy or energies affecting my energy? In one of the sessions that I did, this woman was saying, like, she's not overwhelmed, she's not overly busy, and yet she feels exhausted all the time. And exactly what I was just talking about, she kept looking at all of the outside reasons it could be. Now, of course, we do want to check into those things. So she went to the doctor to get hormone levels checked and blood work done. Of course, that's important. And also looked at how she could change her routine. So she was basically pushing herself harder to try to override the exhaustion. And of course, in this case, none of that was actually what was going on. She'd went to a hospital 2 months before she came to see me. And in that trip, it was a very hard trip for her to the hospital. She was visiting a friend who was dying. And so she was really emotionally upset, understandably. And sometimes when we go into those spaces, when we're a certain vibration, the energies can basically attach to us that are of the same vibration. And so we end up bringing them home, so to speak. And that's what occurred, is that she was upset and she went into this situation. There just being a hospital, there's lots of energies, lots of heavy energies that attached with her. She ended up bringing them home. And that was what was causing the exhaustion, was these heavy energies, which was very unnatural for her. She was a very positive and upbeat person. And of course, we all go through these times. We all have times where we have people that we love that are passing, or we go through situations that are traumatic, and our vibration does drop. That's normal. You can't change that. But what you want to get into the habit of is clearing yourself energetically so that that doesn't occur when, like, you're probably going to bring them home, but within maybe 24 hours, making sure that you're clearing yourself so that they go quickly and easily and they don't affect your life as they did for her for a couple months. So a good reminder is, if you are feeling exhausted and you've done all the checks and there's no reason for it, then there are likely heavy energies that are attached that just need clearing. Sign number 4 is where you are really, really, really critical, judgy, heavy, evil, mean, usually to yourself. Of course, it can be external towards other people, but usually it's more within yourself, within your brain. And that is my number one way for knowing that I have these sorts of energies with me, because I will be cruel to myself. I will think cruel thoughts about myself. And although I'm not always kind to myself with my thoughts, I am not ever cruel. And it took me probably a good couple of years to really recognize this. And this was probably about 15 years ago when I finally recognized that those are not my thoughts. Those are just basically signals that I have these heavy energies with me. And it takes some tenacity to really catch yourself in those thoughts, because when we have those types of energy and our vibration is lower, as I talked about already, those thoughts can almost seem normal, even though they're not normal for you. And so you want to start recognizing that even though they're your thoughts, they can be from these types of energies where they're projecting them onto you and you just think that they're you, and then you continue in that cycle, because the number one thing that these energies need from you is for you to stay in the low vibration. If you have a thought about just how awful you are, and maybe you think of an experience in your life where you were awful, and so then you start beating yourself up for that and judging yourself for that and spinning in that, then that's a play day for these energies, because they know they don't have to go anywhere. because you're just adding to that energy. You're just keeping your energy low. So the more that you can just pay attention to what you're thinking, what you're saying to yourself, then you can catch when they're this gross and icky and just go, oh, that's just a sign. This is not me. I don't talk to myself like that, and clear them so that you can make a different choice and get back into that natural vibration of you, because you are a naturally high vibration. You are a really bright light naturally. So just keep in mind when you've got these really unkind, evil thoughts, again, mostly towards yourself, but maybe even external, take a moment and clear yourself. Sign number 5 is that you don't feel like yourself. And if you were to look in a mirror or look at, say your hand or something, you don't look like yourself. I know it sounds really, really bizarre, and it occurs quite often. I know, again, another sign for me is when I look at my hand and it just doesn't look like my hand. Sounds bizarre. But years ago, I remember a gentleman coming to see me, and he was the least likely to come and see somebody like me that does energy work and healing and all sorts of woo-woo things, or woohoo things. He came and saw me because he was really struggling with every time he looked in the mirror, he didn't look like himself. And it took him probably a good 20 minutes to even express that to me, because he was so embarrassed, but he knew he needed help because he was feeling like he was going insane. And he said, I'll look in the mirror and I don't look like me. And as soon as he was able to kind of get it out, I could see very clearly the energy that was affecting him and coming, in a sense, kind of through that's what he was seeing when he looked in the mirror. And so we just had to clear it. It was actually a fairly simple clear. I sent him to the bathroom because it was an in-person session, got him to look in the mirror, and he was like crying. I mean, not bawling, but like just had tears, because he was like, I can see me. I see me. And so maybe you've had that occur, and you've maybe even judged yourself for thinking something's wrong with you, that's going on. Nothing's wrong with you at all. You just need to be cleared. So just keep in mind, if you don't look like you or feel like you probably just need to clear. Now, of course, these are 5 signs. They aren't the only signs. So a really quick way to know is you can just ask yourself, truth, are there energies to clear here? And of course, here could be like your body, it could be the space you're in, like wherever you want to be asking. Truth, are there energies to be cleared here? The reason I asked truth before that question, it's from a modality I studied years ago, is that it gives me the awareness of if it's actually true or not. And so I love to use truth before these questions. And if you get a yes, then clear. And if you get a no, don't worry about it, carry on. And of course, join us for the upcoming 3-part series, Clearing What's Draining You, May 20th, 21st, and 22nd. The first part, we're going to talk about and clear all of the stuff around money. And the second part will be relationship. The third part will be life. Link is above or below or in the show notes. If you don't see a link, reach out and I will get it for you. Have a great week, sweet friends. I look forward to chatting again soon.